All right. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. We're doing a derailleur pulley cleaning today. I'm gonna put the big gloves on. We're gonna clean this nasty Dura-Ace / CeramicSpeed derailleur pulley system. This thing is pretty dirty, so we just need to disassemble this and get to cleaning. And I don't have my tools on me, so let me grab those. My trusty tool pouch here. This is gonna be really awkward doing this with these giant gloves on. I should probably just wait. They were fun putting on at the beginning of the video. All right, so I guess I'm just gonna end up getting my hands dirty. I'm not prepared for this. Okay, so we're gonna start by removing this, getting these screws out. I'm not sure what kind of lube this guy was using, but it is pretty caked up. Definitely not using a wax system or waxing, because it is very dirty. And I mean, this is somebody who's probably just busy and rides a lot, so that will contribute to that build up there. But if I was gonna say you're not waxing your drivetrain, I would recommend using Squirt. It's a wax lube, but it's not like, you don't have to remove your chain and dip it in the wax and all that. You just put it on, and yeah, it'll build up, but it's easy to scrape off, a little bit easier to clean than, like, let's say this stuff, whatever the heck this is. I think I'm gonna use just regular gloves for right now. Let's make sure these don't have any holes in them. I'm not gonna get too like splashy here, and I apologize for the mess here. It's been a busy month for me, so I just wanted to shoot a video just cleaning and talking while I clean. And don't mind my dogs in the background barking. So let's see if we can get this pulley off. Oh gosh, that's being really hard. So let's see if we can wedge a screwdriver or flathead in there. See if that'll kind of need a bigger one. There we go. Let's try this one. Oh yeah, that's doing something. Man, these are nasty. Dude, the level of gunk on here is crazy. Yeah, you can see that there. Let me just scrape some off for you, so you can see. I don't know, this could be like, maybe it's like white lightning or something, possibly. Let me see, let me turn my, now I can see what the hell I'm doing. Yeah, this looks like white lightning or something. So I'm just gonna kind of scrape some of this off here. Try not to scrape the anodization off. I would say the best way to clean stuff, I mean, people use ultrasonic cleaners. I don't have an ultrasonic cleaner, and I'm kind of afraid of those things. I think eventually I'll get one, but they kind of scare me because I don't want to like it to wear something off. I'm sure there's a little bit of a learning curve, but usually what I would do when I had my retail shop is that I had like a one of those industrial parts cleaners where they would come by and like change out the 55-gallon drum. They give you like a fresh one with degreaser, and it was like a big bin, and then it would circulate the water, the degreaser water, and then it had like a brush, and it would heat the water, which was key. Using hot water to get the degreaser off, or to get the grease off, was worked really well, and I miss having that. I could probably do something like that. I don't really have water hookups in my old garage, so really hard for that to for me to be able to do that. So yeah, so now here's the carbon plate, the backside, and you can really see that there is some huge buildup right there. Let me adjust my camera real quick because I keep wanting to lean up. And yeah, that's probably better like that. So I can see and you can see. Again, if you're watching this video right now, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for checking out my channel. If you've stumbled across this this video. And here we go. Okay, so that's actually, is that part of the derailleur? I can't tell anymore because that's, okay. So that is part of the derailleur. So I'm just going to kind of scrape some of this out. Just see. And so I'm going to scrape some of this off first before I really get into trying to clean it, because it's just going to mess with the cleaner. Try to get all this crud off. Oof. Yeah, without, you know, scratching or damaging the carbon. So I probably have something I can use. No, I think what I'm using is fine. Just lightly scraping here. This looks like wax. Looks like some sort of wax. I'll have to ask. Them what they've been using. Because it kind of looks like wax. So, all right, that's good. And now we'll pop off the upper pulley here, and this one is really bad. Actually, I'm gonna set this here because I'm actually gonna dump all this in the trash in a second here. I'm gonna set all this aside. So I'm gonna just, you know, scrape all this off as I can, and then dump it in the trash, and then start using the degreaser to clean the rest of it off. So we're just gonna keep on scraping. So word of advice, you shouldn't let your drivetrain get this bad. I know people are busy, but yeah, if you let it get this bad, it definitely will slow things down a bit as far as drivetrain efficiency, and will wear your stuff out faster. Keeping your bike clean is key. Now, there are a couple of tools you can use to kind of like do it yourself, kind of like keep your bike clean so you don't have to like take stuff apart like this. I recommend like a good like chain scrubber and a brush. I'm using this brush. This is a really good brush, by the way. This is a Scotch Brite brush. I have no idea where I got this. Sure, you can find something like this. It's like heavy bristles. Now I use this to like scrub cassettes and scrub like any kind of heavy duty metal part. That brush works really well. And I typically wash my bike once or twice a month. I know some people are against washing your bike, spraying water on it, but if you do it right, it's not really that bad. And then if, you know, I would say, especially if you wash your bike, definitely every 6 months or so, you're gonna have to kind of like take your headset apart, open up your headset and put some grease in there. Especially if you sweat a lot. For all those sweaty people out there, you really have to make sure you take your bike apart, because you will just rot everything out. So be very careful with that. If you don't have time, you know, find a good mechanic or somebody, or, you know, for sure, like, there's nothing wrong with rinsing your bike off as long as you're not like blowing water directly on your bearing areas. So if you sweat a lot, you're better off kind of just rinsing your bike off after a hard ride. Like if you did like a long hard ride and it was hot and you sweat a lot, or if you rode it out in the rain too, make sure you like kind of rinse it off, all the dirt and stuff that kind of comes up from the ground, and just dry it off. You can use an air compressor hose. Back when I was younger and poor, I used to just hang my bike in my apartment. I would just like hang it outside on the patio. I had like a little mini patio, and I would just hang it up on my neighbor's patio that hung over our patio. And I would just hang my bike up by like a strap, and I would clean it that way. I didn't have a bike stand, and that worked really well. Anything to kind of just, you know, after a hard ride. And you don't have to get crazy and use crazy degreasers or anything. You could just use like dish soap and water. I did that for a long time. It actually Shimano recommends just really using dish soap for most, like cleaning most of their stuff. You know, it's like they're, instead of using like harsh degreasers. Now I have a degreaser here that I will be using. This is like a simple green kind of industrial degreaser, but it's okay for like metal surfaces and stuff like that. It won't like hurt anything. And then I also have, I know it looks like the same color, but this is like a soap, and basically it's just, I call it wash. I put a little wash logo. It's just soap and water. It is like a car wash that I use that I've been kind of trying out just to see if it's better than regular dish soap. I know that like some car washes are a little bit nicer on stuff, obviously, because if you have like a nice car or something. So I think it's like a McGuire's or whatever that brand is. Got it from like AutoZone. So I've been kind of using that recently. All right, so we got a pretty good amount of crud here. So I'm gonna just bust out this. See, yep. Look at that, not too bad. It's not too bad. All right, so let's get into this. So I'm gonna hit this the wash. Hopefully it doesn't get water on the camera. I'm gonna hit this. And then I'm gonna take these. I thought I had a toothbrush around here. Oh yeah, there it is. And then I'm just gonna kind of soak these a little bit, get these kind of going. So that way the degreaser, so I'm not like putting it directly on the bearing. I'm also gonna crack these bearings open and put the factory lube in there. All right, yeah, I kind of got that a little bit on the bearing, but it's not the end of the world. So set those aside for a minute. All right, let's kind of rinse this off. And all right, so just old toothbrush, nothing fancy. Okay, just rub that in, let it do its thing. I should really just remove this, to be honest. So I want to see where it was last hooked up. So that's, yeah, I think I'm just going to remove this, to be honest, because there's like, I mean, I've already gone this far anyways with it, so I can get in there and get the, this is so tight. Oh man. So these are the Torx, Wera Torx Allens, but some of them are really tight on some of these little torque spots, and I think maybe this is like dirty. See, this is kind of, I know it's not a 9, but I'm gonna have to just use the 9 for now. I think I can get it out without damaging it. Let's see. Oh, damn. The sucker was tight. So I'm just gonna take the tension off here, and then this should just come right out. And did I not, oh gosh. Oh man, I forgot something really crucial here for taking this off, is that I gotta shift this hub body into the out position so this can swirl around. Now I can get it off without, but getting it back on is gonna be a pain. So with that said, I gotta do that. So I need to, one, blow out, excuse the mess here. I'm gonna blow this out real quick. And this should be real fast. This shouldn't take very long, because this is the bike out here. So I'm just gonna hook this up and go ahead and shift it. And we're good. That was really easy. When I was dreading that. So it's kind of dry in there. Oh, and this I think is the other issue. Here's the other issue I think I just found. Looks like this got crushed. So I noticed this thing was being a little wonky because the customer was complaining about the shifting, it not shifting correctly. So I was like kind of feeling it on the derailleur, and I was like, oh, it's kind of wonky. And I was like, you know, I probably should clean it and maybe get in there and kind of take a look at it. And sure enough, this bushing kind of keeps things tight is crushed. So it looks like this may have gotten crushed when it got originally put in. So I'm gonna have to find one of these. I don't know if I have it. Maybe I can just kind of fold it back into place. It looks like it's still in good condition. At least fold it back into place and maybe just order one and get it running for now, you know, type of deal. And so we'll try that. I'm gonna try to clean. This is not coming off very easy. I don't know why. So this video is pretty much, this is a raw video. I'm not like gonna try and edit this video or edit anything out to make it look like I just did this all perfect, because being a bike mechanic, nothing is ever straightforward. There's always this level of like people who have bikes, they don't really take care of them. It's the bike industry is not like the car industry, where it's like they tell you like, yes, you must change your oil every X amount of miles. Like people just ride their bikes because they like think of them as toys, and it's like they just ride the hell out of their bike and they don't want to, you know, they don't think the consequences are, well, I guess the consequences are not as bad as a car. Like if you didn't maintain your car and you couldn't get to work, well, that's a big problem. Versus if you didn't maintain your bike, something breaks, not the end of the world. But let me tell you, bikes are very neglected. Pretty much all bikes, they get ridden a lot, especially for people who ride so much. They really do neglect their bikes. I see it all the time. But, you know, hey, it's more work for me. You know. And some people want to do their own service, and I think that's great. I think it's like comes down to, you know, do you enjoy it? Do you have time? Or do you have the money to pay somebody to service your bike? I feel like at least I've been working in the bike industry for over 20 years, and sometimes like people bring their stuff and they always like, especially men, they're always just like, yeah, I would have done it myself, but I just didn't have time. And you know, they always, that's like the first thing they always say. And it's like, you know, hey, I get it, like you know, if you don't want to do it, it's not a big deal. And sure, I mean, they're being honest. I mean, some people don't have time, especially if you have kids and you're trying to ride your bike, and like the last thing you want to do is spend all this time cleaning it. Yeah, just just pay someone to do it. I mean, I feel that way about my own bike. Like, every once in a while I have to break down my bike and clean it. And like, it takes a lot of time, and I honestly, I don't want to deal with it. I really don't even like working on my own bike because like it just takes a lot of time, and I'm not getting paid to do it. So that's the other thing. I mean, maybe if I try to film myself working on my own bike and post it on YouTube, and I don't know, maybe get a few bucks there, it would feel better. But I guess because I work on bikes all the time. But even then, like, you know, I don't work on my own car really. As far as like major stuff goes, I would definitely take it to somebody that I trust. But I'm okay with that. Like, I don't want to. Do I think like I could do it? Sure, I could spend the time and do the research and like, you know, figure out how to work on my own car. But most of the time, I just want to take it to somebody. Like, I'm not going to do my own alignment. I don't even know what that requires. Like, I'm not going to, if I had to maybe like flush transmission oil or something like that, I probably wouldn't do it myself. I mean, sometimes I'll, you know, most of the time I do my own oil changes. Like, I'm not that bad. But it's like major stuff, especially like getting your tires rotated. Like, I ain't messing with that. I don't have time to do that. But I don't know where I'm going with this tangent. But yeah, what I'm trying to say is that, you know, it's worth it to take your bike to somebody if you take it to a place where, you know, there's someone there that you trust. And I get it. I've worked in the industry for a long time, and a lot of shops suck. Sorry. But what I have seen lately, the trend is that there are a lot of independent guys out there now. There's more and more of them. Guys like me who just, all they do is service. You know, they don't really want to do the whole, like, have a big shop and sell bikes. It's hard to have a shop and do everything really well. And I feel like you have to hire somebody, and it's hard to find someone who actually knows anything. And you go, and then if you are somebody who knows something, you go work at a shop, guess what? You aren't gonna really get paid that well. I mean, I get for some people they'd rather just take that because it's like peace of mind, where it's like you just show up, work, and get your paycheck and get out of there. Like, I 100% understand that. There's nothing wrong with that. But for me, I feel like I try to go above and beyond and try to provide a really good service, mostly because like my name is on the line. You know, I'm employed by myself, so if I mess up your bike, or if I forget something, it's embarrassing. You know, whereas other shops, you know, they don't really care, or they just hire somebody that didn't know, and they're busy and they got a bunch of bikes, and you know. Anyways, back to what I was trying to say is that take your bike to somebody and let them take care of it. There's nothing wrong with it. Say at least once a year, take your bike to a shop and have them strip it down and clean it. Especially if you ride it a lot. If you don't ride a lot, you know. And what is riding a lot? Well, I would say if you're someone who puts like 5,000 miles a year on your bike, for sure it's going to need to be clean, depending on what your preference is for lubricating your drivetrain, because that's where a lot of the dirt, that's where all the nasty stuff. But also, especially with modern day bikes, you have brake fluid, which you need to change out at least once a year if you want to keep your brakes working in tip-top shape. I don't know why I can't get this dang spring out. I don't ever remember it being that hard. I remember it just like dropping in there. Like, how can this not come out? Like, I do not understand this. Am I just not doing it right? Am I stupid? Like, how is this not coming out? Oh, there we go. That's embarrassing. anyways, I don't remember what we were talking about. I think we were talking about, yeah, what your lubrication is, how you lube your bike, you know, and where you ride, the weather, all those things matter. And so that will play a factor in like when you should get your bike serviced or how often, blah, 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 blah. So I live where it's hot and, well, the weather is perfect. I'm in Southern California, so the weather out here is just, let's just say it's perfect, because it really is. Sometimes it gets hot, you know, it can get hot as hell during the summer. And I'm gonna grab some water real quick. And yeah, I can, you know, that plays a part in how I service my bike, because I sweat, and then sometimes it gets water on it from rain puddles or whatever from riding outside. And yeah, anyways, a lot of people are starting to wax their drivetrains, and I think that's great. I think what people are trying to achieve is that with waxing your drivetrain, your chain, that it will, one, last longer, and it'll be cleaner. And what else? So if it's cleaner and it lasts longer, you're ultimately saving money. I don't know if there's enough data out there yet to really prove much of that. I do wax my chain, but the thing about waxing your chain is that you have to do it more often than you think. I think what most people are doing, they're not doing it enough. Like, you have to wax it, like, I think, like, I want to say like every 500 miles or less. Some people I know it's all over the place. There's people doing it on, you know, less or more. So yeah, that's you have to, it does require more work, is what I'm trying to say. Is like, yeah, you got to take your chain off and then, like, you know, basically wax it. Some people I've heard run 2 chains. I think that's smart, so that way you always have one ready to go. I think that's brilliant. One thing I would say to watch out for is just if you have a quick link, well, everybody has a quick link nowadays, is that you don't want to keep reusing it. I know there are reusable quick links out there that are pretty heavy duty. I've seen some of those. I haven't gotten too much into that. And I've heard that that's kind of the way to go. Now, as far as like, I know, like, I'm a bike mechanic and I sound like I don't know anything, right? Like, I don't do these, I don't really jump into trends like super fast. Okay, like, yeah, people are, like, when people start running bigger tires and, you know, or running their setup a certain way, like their fit, things like that. Like, I don't jump into trends really fast. I kind of let things kind of marinate first. Like, I'm pretty stubborn, because, you know, I've seen things come and go. Oh, look at that, it came out really good. And so yeah, I don't jump on trends that fast. Like, people have been waxing their chains now for a while, but is like everybody doing it? No. And same thing for even like tire size. Like, I'm a big believer in bigger tires, but I was riding the other day with a guy and he still has 23C tires, and obviously tubeless as well. Tubeless is a big thing now. I have been running tubeless. I started running in tubeless. Well, I tried tubeless in 2012 and it didn't work for me. And then I tried it again like 2000, like 3 years later. And then I kept doing, like, every 3 years I would try it again. And what I learned was, as the tires got bigger and the PSI got lower, it became better. So it took some time. And I still think, like, with waxing, there's going to be some better developments. Is it time for everybody to jump on the waxing train? Like, no, I don't think so. I mean, I guess it doesn't hurt. It's not like tubeless, where tubeless, if, let's say, like, you don't ride that much and you're like, yeah, do tubeless. Everybody said it's great. But, like, you let your bike sit for like 3 weeks, tubeless is not right for you. If you're someone who doesn't ride very much, Yeah, I would say don't do tubeless. Just there's some good tubes out there. You can get the TPU tubes, you can get latex tubes. You know, those are great options for people who don't ride that much, or maybe you just got into riding. Don't automatically jump into tubeless yet. And you know, some bikes, they come with tubeless already out the gate. And I agree and disagree with that, because yeah, some people, especially the high-end bikes, some people are maybe going to ride a couple times and they're going to get busy, you know? So I don't think it's necessarily for everybody. Is it better than tubes? In my opinion, I like it mostly because the lower PSI. I like being comfortable. I want to go fast, and I feel like, yeah, it rolls faster, in my opinion. But you know, that's, who knows if it's true, you know, I don't know. There's tests out there, but there's always going to be another test that's going to always pop up and be like, oh, well, we found that this works better, you know? So, but I know that there's one thing, especially with modern bikes, and that's one thing I really like about modern bikes and disc bikes, is the ability to run larger tires. I know people are like, oh, you don't need disc brakes. You know, our bikes are already good. And yeah, I agree. I would say that, like, you don't need disc brakes. But let me tell you something. I've been riding road bikes since, 2008? So when I first started riding road bikes. And I would say, like, you know, I was really holding out. When discs came around, I was really upset. I was like, no way they're gonna try to push this on us. Like, I remember telling all my reps, like, no, disc brake sucks. I was so anti disc brake. And as time went on, the group sets got better. You know, the first generations obviously were pretty bad. Second generations were better. I had bought a disc brake bike in 2020. It was a BMC road machine with Ultegra Di2 disc, and it was good. It worked really well. And then I decided to sell that, and then I built like 3 different rim brake bikes. I built some really nice rim brake bikes, and I stuck with those for a while. And then one day I was like, you know, I had 3 of these bikes, and then I was like, you know, I really want to just get a new bike. I'm liking this, which was another fad, which was the, you know, the narrow handlebars, and like getting a bike that was like more aero. That was kind of like a something I wanted, right? Like, I wanted a modern bike, a nice modern bike. And I saw the Trek Domani, which I've always been a fan of Treks. And not the Domani, I'm sorry, the Madone. That was always one of my favorite bikes. And I was like, I saw the Team Lidl paint job when it first came out. I was like so in love with it. And I got really lucky, and there was one at my local shop, and I bought it. And I bought it, and it had, I wanted a new bike, and I wanted to get the new SRAM Red group set that came out, the newest one, the E2 or whatever it is. I really like the hoods on the new SRAM. And I've never been a fan of SRAM. I've always never liked SRAM because it was always like crap, right? And then what happened was, I was working for a race team, the Miami Blazers and Legion, and the Austin Outlaws, I think it was. Like, they're all owned by the same people. So we were, you know, myself and like a couple other mechanics, we would service all the bikes, you know, and we would, you know, travel. I would travel with them here and there sometimes. Did a couple big races when they needed extra help. And I got to kind of see the new SRAM, because they're sponsored by SRAM. So I got to see the new SRAM group set kind of like just before it came out, like before, you know, the world was able to get it. And I was like blown away about like how good the hoods felt. So that was one of my, like, you know, and how the brakes felt. and I was like, wow. I was like, SRAM really nailed it with this group set and the way it feels. And I was like super stoked. So I was like, I want this group set for my bike. You know, I want a bike with this group set. So I was like, I'm just going to buy a complete bike. I don't want to build a bike. I don't feel like doing that, you know. So that's what I did. All right, I'm going to blow this off real quick. So it's going to be really loud. Nice. So yeah, that's what I did, and I have been very happy. Now, does it shift better than Shimano? No, does not shift better than the Shimano 12-speed Dura-Ace. The Shimano 12-speed Dura-Ace is very predictable, and it shifts very consistent. It's faster, and it's stronger. However, I don't really like the way that the brakes feel. They're too stiff. And I really love the modulation on the SRAM Red brakes. It's like kind of spongy a little bit, and you can really you can get a nice one finger brake, no problem. And I absolutely love it. And I love the Madone. I love the new design of the Madone, especially in the seat post area. It's super comfortable. You can run up to 32C tires, and it's a great bike. It's a, you know, there's no downfall. Like, the new disc stuff is awesome. I would never go back to rim brake. Now, I appreciate rim brake bikes. I see them all the time, and I'm like, oh, they're so cool, but they are just becoming more and more of a relic to me. It's kind of like, you know, disc brake, you know, rim brake people hate on disc brakes, but like, okay, well, you know, when carbon fiber frames came out, there was people who were like, no, steel is real. And I know that there's people nowadays who ride steel still. It's still ride steel. And they're like, no, this is great. But I'll say this, like, I've ridden some steel bikes, some nice steel bikes, and I've ridden carbon and I've ridden aluminum, and nothing beats carbon. I mean, titanium is nice. I've ridden some very nice titanium bikes, and they're great, but you buy a nice modern day carbon frame, like, it's I'm sorry, hate to tell you, it's better. It's better, in my opinion. But I appreciate freaking nice steel bikes and nice titanium bikes. Would I ever own one? No, just because, like, what I have found, I used to own like 3 bikes, and what I found is that it's pointless owning so many bikes. I don't ride that much. I ride about like maybe 5,000 miles a year or more. At least I try to ride more. And especially with tubeless, it's just too much to manage. You know, like, if I'm like, oh, well, should I swap bikes and rotate bikes and ride this bike this day and ride that bike this day? Like, it's pointless. And my house is tiny as well, and I don't really have like space for it. So, you know, between like my wife's bike and all the other crap we have, I don't have room for another bike. And I can't afford to have, if I was going to get a second bike, I can't afford to have 2 nice bikes. Like, my bike cost about $14,000 new. And yeah, I can't justify. I know it's a crazy amount of money for a bike, but, and people always say like, oh, bikes are so expensive, but bikes were still expensive even back in 2010. I mean, when I remember looking at, I remember because we had Giant at the shop I worked at, and like a Giant Dura-Ace bike with zip wheels was like 12 grand. And people want to complain, like, I don't, you know, saying bikes are expensive. Well, bikes have gotten way better, and they're not really that much more. I know it, I don't understand how that all works. I'm not an economist or whatever, but, you know, bikes have improved. I for sure would never ride a bike from 2010. You wouldn't see me riding that. I'm not against it, but I just, you know, as far as like, I want all the luxuries of a new bike, you know, electronic shifting. That's another thing too. I just read an article. They were talking about people hating on electronic shifting and stuff like that. and how I feel like people say like that, oh, mechanical was like perfect and you never had any issues. Well, I'll say this, I don't really ever have any issues with my electronic shifting. And mechanical, you still have issues. People say that they don't, but like when I go out and ride a mechanical bike, I'm just like, my hands have like my fingers have like weakened because when I push a mechanical shifting button on like an old Tegra or something, and I'm like, oh gosh, this feels like hell trying to push the button. Because it's I'm just not used to it anymore. I've just pushed a little button and it does all the work for me. And so yeah, I'm all about electronic shifting, and it's only going to get better, and it's not going anywhere. And it's interesting because I've been around in this kind of transitional period. I'm 38 years old, so I've been around when there really wasn't an internet. I grew up with basically dial-up internet. I'm sure most people watching know what that is. But yeah, I grew up around that time with, AOL Messenger and things like that. And so there was a time, let's say like, when everything wasn't like criticized as much. And nowadays it just seems like everybody's just bitching, wants to bitch, just wants to. And so every time I see a new product come out, people are like, oh, this is something we don't need, and the industry just wants to make money. And it's like, well, these companies that have brought you so much great products have to keep innovating. All right, they can't just keep like selling the same old stuff. It doesn't really work that way, I guess. Like you can't have your cake and eat it too. So in order for them to kind of, and I would say like, yeah, not every single new product that comes out is going to be amazing, but there is going to be a couple things that will come out that are great. I look back at the bike industry in the last 15 years, and I say one of the best innovations for road bikes is tire sizes and tire clearance. Being able to have wider tires. And I know people were like, everybody has their opinion on that and whatnot, and they're like, oh, why don't you just ride this type of bike? It has bigger tires. Well, I race and I ride competitively. I go to competitive group rides where it's like a race simulated ride. We have a lot of that stuff out here in Southern California. It's amazing. And it's like trying to take your like riding an old bike at a ride like that, because I've done this. I had a really nice Rabobank 2012 Rabobank TCR with Dura-Ace on it, and it was a nice bike. But I'll tell you what, after getting my Trek, I sold that thing instantly, because I was like, I'm never going back to this. Because like what I was trying to say is that it's like going to the racetrack with your Toyota Camry, which, nothing against Toyota Camrys, but you'd rather be in like a Mazda, well, let's say like a Honda S2000, something that's like lightweight and fast and nimble. You can still get the job done. Sure, you can still show up to the ride in an older bike, but tell you what, it's a lot more fun on a fancy bike. I have been there, trust me. I know everybody complains about the prices of stuff, but like I said, it really hasn't changed that much. It's really the same. Now there are some really ridiculous parts. There's more out there for sure. Like there's more stuff that's like crazy and extreme. I'll say that for sure. That's something I definitely have seen, but that's just because of the internet. And obviously everybody on the internet just gets to basically just sit back, behind a screen and just judge things that, and it just becomes becomes that. But you know, especially if you go on like Bike Rumor, it's like that's like the worst one. It's like every time a new product comes out, like it's nothing but negativity. It's so crazy. And it's like, well, you know, if you don't like it, just don't buy it. Because I tell you what, if people weren't buying these high-end bikes, then they wouldn't be making them. So, you know, and let's see. Hang on, sorry. Let me blow this out. So, I'm gonna take a pause on my tangent there, and I'm gonna put some pulley oil in this. And I'm actually just gonna kind of wet this and kind of roll it. And what this is gonna do is kind of try to grab some of that grease, some of that dirt that's in there. I'm gonna go on the back side and try to blow some of it out. Oh yeah, spins much better. All right. Due to how this rider rides, I'm going to put some grease in here. I'm going to put some of this Kogel low friction grease in here. Mostly because, like, I'm just going to put a little bit. Mostly because this guy rides a lot. And this will hopefully help too. This will help with keeping things cleaner. Well, just protecting the bearings. We don't want to put a ton in there, just a little bit, just so it right, then I'm going to drip a little bit more of this on there. You guys are probably going to bash me for mixing two different greases, but I just want this to last a bit longer, so just put a little bit of that low friction grease in there. Now, I've done this before in the past, and it works well. Doesn't have any issues. So look at all that. Jeez. All right, you can see that on the back side of the seal. Looks like this one. Yeah, so this one they kind of pack in the grease. So this is their pulley oil. This is what they recommend. Obviously, with that stuff, like, it makes it like the most efficient, the fastest, which is we're talking, who knows? It's very marginal gains, maybe the third of a watt. But I like to kind of mix in something else just to kind of give it some, like a thicker grease, obviously, instead of just a straight oil, just to try to keep things to last longer, since this is gonna go through hell. I mean, this drivetrain is gonna get raced on, ridden in the wet, you know, long freaking rides. I mean, the guy that owns this bike, I mean, he's a racer, he's a rider. This guy is sorry, I don't know if you heard that, but this guy he's a racer, he's a rider, he's races masters, and he's a state champion in his field. So he rides a lot. It's very competitive out here. Crit racing out here is very, very competitive. Like, I'm sure in most places it's competitive, but out in California, Southern California, we have some fast people out here. Now, I'm not from other areas, but based off what I usually see, is that we have some very quick people out here. But I'm not hating on other places. Just saying. I'm not saying California is the best. Let's see if we can get some more of that grease out. All right. We're almost to the point where we can just kind of put everything back together. And then I can, you know, get this video uploaded. I've been really bad at not posting like long videos. I've just been posting shorts. And it's hard because let's say you film a video like this, and my goal with this video is like not to edit it. I can just record it, talk, and then post it, you know, instead of having to like take a bunch of videos all cut up and then edit them. And it's, you know, that's hard. It takes a lot of work, you know. Kudos to the people out there that are able to do that. Like, it's not easy, man. I want to just be able to figure out how to just make a video and then just post it and not have to do least amount of editing. So that's going to go this way because it takes time, because obviously I have to work too. And I ain't getting rich off YouTube, but I do like posting stuff, mostly because it's fun to be able to see myself in the future and be like, hey, that's me. You know, when I'm like 120 years old, I can look back at my 38-year-old self and be like, oh yeah, look at that. I did that. You know? But also, it's another way. Oh my gosh, I almost lost that screw. Look at that. Look at this guy just like hanging on for its dear life. Oh man, that would have sucked if it fell back there. Anyways, yeah, I kind of started this YouTube journey because someone told me to. I was posting, making little videos, and you know, I probably should have started a long time ago, but I've just been going slow. I'm playing the long game. You know, I'm not trying to get big overnight, or I'm not trying to put my full attention into this. I'm just trying to just make sure I post stuff every once in a while, and I've gotten some great feedback from some of you guys, and I really appreciate it. And I have some amazing people that are always consistently commenting. Actually, I want to say shout out to Michael, who always comments on all of my YouTube shorts. And if you got this far in the video, Michael, you are a true fan. I appreciate seeing your positive comments, because that's what keeps me going. Appreciate that. Thank you, man. Also, I want to say, if you've made it this far in the video, thank you. Can't believe you sat here this whole time and listened to me ranting about the bike industry. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. So let's get back to this piece here that's kind of jacked up, and I don't think I have this piece, but I'm gonna look for it. It is pretty boogered up, but it's not like fully broken, and I think I can still use it. I think it's still usable for the most part. So I'm going to try and reuse it, but I know I might have something somewhere. I got to look. I might have, I've done so many of these that I like probably have something just laying around. So I'm going to look and see, and hopefully that will tighten up the shifting a little bit if I put a new one in there. So I'm just going to try and put it in the correct way, get everything, you know, to work better, to fit tighter. It's really just like to put spacing, you know, on the side here. So I just need it to work there. It seems like it's kind of stretched right there. So I'm going to try. I'm going to see what I can do. See if I can make that work and go from there. So I shouldn't have done this. Oh, wow, it fits in there really easy. All right, so as far as this grease goes, I'm going to use this aquaproof grease. This is amazing grease by Coco, by the way. Coco makes some good products. They make some great grease. I use this grease on anything that's not a bearing, basically, especially for my customers that are like super sweaty. I use this in headsets. This is amazing stuff. It's called Aquaproof Paste. Now, I don't get any kickback from them, but every once in a while they, you know, pay me to do a video or they hook me up with something. Last year they had me pay me to go out to Sea Otter. So that was fun. So I just realized that ain't gonna go in there if that's in the way. So yeah, shout out to them. They're cool. Listen, I mean, I'm gonna be transparent with you. I mean, like, yeah, I do YouTube also because I want to make some money too. Like, I mean, you know, the world ain't cheap. So, and you know, if I got a skill and you guys enjoy watching me, then hey, why can't I make some money, you know? So yeah, just being transparent with you guys. I'm not just doing this for nothing, but I do enjoy it, and I do enjoy comments and talking to people. So it's cool. It's either this or, you know, go dig holes in the hot sun. So I don't know why I was using that. I need this tool. So I think that thing went back in there correctly. It's really hard to tell, but it looks... Well, I'm going to find out. If it still feels wonky and shifts weird, I'm going to just order the part and replace it. But let's see. Oh yeah, that feels like freaking way better. Nice. That's good. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Well, put this bad boy back on the bike and yeah, get this thing back to work. Anyways, I just want to say thank you guys for watching the video. If you made it this far, you know, all the YouTubers say, you know, feel free to like and subscribe, leave a comment, blah blah blah. I'll try to respond as quickly as I can, but I just want to say thank you, and I want to say happy holidays to you and your family. And I appreciate you coming to my channel and watching the video. And I'm hoping to get better at this YouTube thing and post more stuff and talk about the bike industry because I do enjoy this. So anyways, cheers.